Hey everybody, this is Tony Upperclass Eagles. Hope you're having a good day. Want to talk about three very important things every player should be doing at home when training. When we have the extra time to train on our own, there are certain things that can make a very big impact on our level of play when we step on the field. And it's some items that probably do not get a lot of attention when typically players are working with the ball on their own. So first, and this might be a really obvious one, but spending time working on your what I would call second favorite foot. Some people call it the weaker foot. I don't like using that term. I like saying it's the player's second favorite foot. Spending time working on your second favorite foot, whether you're right-footed, you work on your left, and vice versa. Makes for me one of some of the most substantial impact on your level of play when you step on the field. Not from the obvious reasons, just being able to use both feet, but there are elements to being able to use both feet and the confidence that comes with it and the opportunities that come within the game that are kind of altering for a player. First and foremost, for me, is when you can use both feet, you become a lot less predictable as a player defending against you. If I know the player is really dominant on one side or one foot, it's sometimes pretty predictable, what they're going to do next or what they're not going to do next. When you can use both feet and you will use both feet, it becomes much harder to anticipate what you're going to do with the ball. Second is when you get the ball, often in games we're making decisions based on which foot I have to use. If I'm going to be forced to use the foot that I really don't want to, sometimes I won't make the right pass or take the shot when I have the opportunity, and I might do something else that might not be the best option. So for me, that's one of the biggest things with having the ability to use both feet is that you have a lot more options on the field and you're making decisions based on what you're seeing in the game, what makes the most sense, not based on your limitations on which foot you have to use. Second, which might be a little less obvious, would be a player working on their flexibility, mobility, and stability. A lot of times when players are doing physical training, they're doing running, maybe some footwork, and then some strength training, but there's not a lot of time dedicated to activities and movements that help improve your flexibility, your mobility, and then your stability as a player. And these are the three things through some of your major joints, whether it's your back, your hips, your knees, your ankles, shoulders, that really help you not only perform better, but stay healthier throughout the season. And then often, what sometimes we don't realize is that when we have deficiencies in some areas, if our hips don't have enough mobility, sometimes that can cause pain in the lower back. And so there's so many things that come with that and help you as a player, that it is very important for you to spend time doing those things and working those areas and doing those type of activities and exercises that help improve those. It's very hard to get players to do it, especially youth players, because they're not as much fun. It's, if you watch anyone warm up or, cool down and do some of those movements that, look similar to that type of training, most kids aren't taking it very seriously or are just rushing through it. So, but I think if you ask a lot of coaches and trainers now that really understand how the body works and how to help athletes improve their performance, exercises that hit on these areas really become a very big focal point. So if you're doing conditioning, if you're at that age and level, players should be really making sure that they have flexibility, mobility, and stability exercises in their routines. And then finally, I would say is when you're at home and you can't be on the field with your team, is spend time on YouTube. That might sound counterintuitive. I'm asking someone to be on the computer, but from a tactical understanding and improving your intelligence as a player, YouTube is a great tool. From all the videos that do everything from breaking down games from a tactical analysis to evaluating and looking at how an individual player in a certain position might move and act on the field, or how a group of players should act and move as a field, how you play differently in different formations or different roles and responsibilities, phases of the game. There's so much information out there, and it's broken down by world-class coaches. And for players to, visually not just see, but hear and then look at all the diagrams and the tools they use digitally to explain what they're talking about, it really is eye-opening. I still, as a coach, look at it, and I think about myself as a player, that would have been so helpful to be able to have those type of resources and review it and study it like all great athletes do. They study game film all the time, because when you're in the match, that information, is extraordinarily helpful in terms of the decisions you make and where you move on the field and really understanding what's happening around you. So those are three things that every player should be doing on their own. If you're not, spend more time doing that. Find the time to do it. Ask your coaches how to do it, and help with resources and learning how the proper ways to do those things on your own.